Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to the Pain Clinic for September 13th. There's a few holidays today. Let me go through them real quick. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, and I want to apologize first off for missing last week. I said, I had woke up with a tooth infection, and it just wasn't going to happen. And without, I don't know, second head growing on the side of my mouth. So I canceled at the last minute last week. I hope you guys are with me this week. But let me tell you, the holidays today, it's Defy Superstition Day. It's a Fortune Cookie Day. Kids Take Over the Kitchen Day. National Peanut Day. And Positive Thinking Day. Uncle Sam Day. Birthdays today. Angelina Love is 44 today. And Baron Corbin is 41 today. Happy birthday to both of them. I mean, they probably don't go by either of those names anymore, or maybe they do. But hey, happy birthday to both of them. Let's see what else. Are you interested in roller derby? You want to be a skater, officiate Rock City Roller Derby? Need you? Contact recruitment at rockderbyrecruitment@gmail.com. Enjoying Rock City Roller Derby. I am your humble host, the Cash Man, joining you today. Hopefully, I get some of my friends from the show to show up. It was kind of like a last minute cancellation last week, unfortunately. So, but we are here today to talk the world of pro wrestling. So many things have happened since it's almost been 2 weeks now. In fact, it was the WWE Paris pay-per-view, which we really would have probably gone into quite a bit, but I did not, but like I said, we didn't make it last week. So hopefully, I definitely will bring up, it looks like, oh, look at that. We got Rob Sanderson joining us. Oh, wait a second. I'm your humble host, Cashman, joined by Rob Sanderson. Rob Sanderson, how are you doing today? There you are.
If you can hear me, maybe.
Yeah, I can hear you now. What's up, buddy? Sorry about last week if you were prepared or not. I don't know if you heard me, but I had a tooth infection. I woke up with a really bad tooth infection on Saturday, and I just wasn't going to happen, man. It was just, I felt terrible. So I took the week off, sat with an ice pack on my face the whole day on last Saturday and Sunday. It's a terrible first football weekend. You sit there and, not be able to really enjoy it that much. So, but how are you doing, sir?
Good. Yeah, it's middle of September. We are off to a great start in the football world. Hockey's right around the corner. The baseball team's doing very well. So yeah, no
What about
no
that Bills
complaints.
game last weekend, man?
I am still in shock. I can't, like I for the longest time, I was also somebody that's like, how are these people going to leave the game early? And especially now with what ticket prices are. But as I've gotten older, I realize a Sunday night game,
Yeah.
when it feels like it's over. And honestly, like I didn't have that great of a feeling going into that game, um, partially because of Lamar Jackson, mostly because of Derrick Henry,
Okay.
and some Bills injuries. But
Yeah.
what an incredible performance. So
Yeah.
hopefully they can follow up with that with a much more dominant performance tomorrow. But
New York, yeah,
pretty
against the
pretty happy.
Jets. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, yeah, but they did not stop Derrick Henry. He pretty much had
No.
no, no, they
No.
didn't, you know,
No, but thanks to him for fumbling the ball,
gave him a
or letting
chance.
it get punched out. So
That gave him a chance. They were done, and that's all they needed was that chance, and they took advantage of it. So, I don't want every week to go down to be like that, but you know what? That was a hell of a first, I mean, can you think of all the people like I was home at midnight and I'm freaking jumping around, even though I feel like hell because of my tooth infection. I was like super excited. I mean, it got me wide awake at midnight. It was like I gotta go to
oh,
work.
I was up until like 4 something a.m. that night just because I was so like just awake from the victory.
Yeah, yeah,
And
me
like what
too.
I say, like that happened. I mean, that's always been an issue with me is like not being able to like shut it down after a late sports game or calling a road game or whatever the case is. And yeah, I mean, it was just like, okay, the game's over. I'm gonna rewatch the 5 minutes. Okay, now I'm gonna go on Twitter and just scroll
Oh
and
yeah.
refresh and repost all of this stuff. And like, I just,
Oh, I went.
it's a hell of a way to start a season.
I went and looked at things I didn't see when I was watching the game. Like for instance, Jackson pushing this guy in the crowd. I didn't see that one.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
see that either. And I mean, no Bills fan should be putting their hands on an opposing player, period. So I didn't really, I'm not faulting Lamar for any of that at all. It was a hell of a game. I mean, those are if if you can beat the Baltimore Ravens, you feel much better about your team. So that's a great way to start the season because the way that first half was going is just like, oh boy.
yeah. They
Um, there's a
couldn't
lot
do
of doubt
anything.
and stuff. So
Yeah,
I appreciated all the people that went on Twitter and like never a doubt. I was like, I had all of them then. So
they were
I made
down
up
what,
for it.
15 points in less than like 4.5 minutes left in the game. Uh,
356 was when they were no longer down by 15. And the fact that like at that point was the second missed 2-point conversion. It's
yeah,
like, okay, this is over. Because that's what I feel like is kind of lost a little bit in the narrative is like, oh, they're the first team to come back and win in regulation down by 15 with under 4 minutes left. And it was like, yeah, and they also missed the 2-point conversion, so they had to score again. It
yeah,
wasn't like you were getting like two touchdown plays, 2-point conversions, and you're done. Like they had to score three times.
yeah.
So just absolutely incredible.
Like people say, well, it's giving Derrick Henry credit, but you know what? They actually had to stop them after that too. After
Yeah.
that, yeah,
Well,
and
and honestly, I mean, I was a little surprised to see the Ravens punt when they did. If I were uh, coordinating or coaching, I don't think I would have made that decision, but I'm very happy they did.
well, I mean,
So,
they were being second guessed by the announced team too. So that was,
yeah.
they were saying, it was like a short, to go on fourth, and they could have went for it, and they were midfield too, or they were, whatever. So, but nevertheless, yeah. So, we are talking pro wrestling, but that was a heck of a first weekend for football. And I'm a Commanders fan, so I was happy that day as well. Not so happy this past week, but so be it. But I do want to in the week we missed here, there really was two probably big pieces of news that we missed that are continuing on to this day. And one, there's two things that I wanted to mention. One, Brock Lesnar making the return at the Clash in Paris, and two, AJ showing what's her name again?
I thought you were talking about AJ Styles.
No, no, no,
Uh,
no. AJ Punk's
AJ
wife,
Lee.
AJ Lee, showing up. Which was only so it was so predictable that was going to happen anyways, just because Becky. A lot of people took a lot of offense to Becky Lynch abusing Punk in the ring. Saying, I mean, aren't we, this is kind of like, the stuff that you guys talk about, when you don't, be a bigger man, don't bully anybody. And that's what Becky Lynch, slapping Punk 30 times or whatever, as much as, Phil, we're not fans of Phil, still he had to go out there and get slapped by Becky Lynch a whole handful, a bunch of times. And obviously it meant, that AJ Lee was coming. But that was, I think that, that AJ Lee and Brock Lesnar are both coming back, kind of changing the trajectory of a couple other people's careers at the moment. And, obviously Brock coming back, going with John Cena, John Cena, is probably going to ride out the rest of the year against Brock, I'm guessing. And then AJ Lee, of course, now we've got WrestlePalooza, a mixed tag match, which obviously was obvious. I don't know. What are your thoughts? I mean, obviously AJ Lee's probably the better of two, in your opinion, Rob, right? the
Um,
fair.
oh boy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to stay nice this morning. So, Brock Lesnar coming back is just gross. I no desire whatsoever to see any of that. I mean, it's not like, well, yeah, I'm not a fan of that. And AJ Lee coming back, you know what? Like, I'm happy for all the fans that are very happy about that. Um, Obviously, there's also been a lot of respect shown on social media and stuff from some current wrestlers who were big AJ Lee fans, or maybe she helped kind of spark their interest in getting involved in the business and things like that. Um, I don't I don't dislike everything about AJ Lee. Let me preface with that.
Sure.
And I did see that segment and um the Raw segment with the therapy chants that came out in Milwaukee and stuff. And I think it's there are some positives there. And the fans are happy, and that's one of those. I mean, somebody was wording it as like this is the biggest return like ever. I was like, no. I mean, as much as I don't want to say it, like yeah, her husband coming back was one of the bigger ones, but um I was never a big AJ Lee fan, but um I don't know. I mean, time heals wounds, and like if she's in a better spot now, good for her. She also is at this point seemingly battling the Blade for the most abs on the planet. I will say
Seriously, yeah.
that. But yeah, it's it was predictable. That's I mean we're in an era right now where most stuff gets leaked. It just kind of is what it is, and so
I
companies
got
also play into it a
yeah.
little bit
The
too.
Raw before, apparently there was some merch that they were selling at the Raw before with her on it that people saw.
Oh,
And so and she didn't show up until SmackDown the first time, and now guess she's on Raw all the time now. But yeah, when the Raw before Punk came out, that's when Punk was, said he had an answer for Becky Lynch or whatever. And
yeah. I mean, it's just that's a big like with this feud they've got going and stuff. Like, it's a big thing, and obviously WWE has never been huge on like mixed tag matches and stuff. So they're offering something a little bit different. I don't dislike everybody in that four-person match, but I personally don't have interest in it. But again, for the people who are excited about it, I mean, there are a lot of obviously Chicago was pumped. That arena was loud as it always is, and so um, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know hope how do I put this? There we go. Hopefully her ring rust will be worked off before the big match, maybe more than the first AEW Women's World Champion Riho's ring rust, as shown on Dynamite this week. Because yikes. But yeah, I don't know. I have zero interest in WrestlePalooza whatsoever, even though now it's not a schedule conflict. It's just not. There's a lot of stuff on there that I specifically, not that I can say I don't care about. There's a lot of stuff that I specifically do not want to see. So,
yeah, yeah, that's it's to me it's a glorified house show, and I mean there's nothing really on the line
oh,
except
but they're saying they're trying to make it into like it could be a big annual event or whatever to make up for them moving other big main shows to
oh
despicable places.
yeah, I want to get there. We're going to get there.
I
So
know. Yeah.
that was our last week's, the week we were off recap there. And I do want to mention what we're going to talk about today. We've got a few things we talk about. I'll go down the list. Um, Mania was announced outside the United States, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. We got All Out a week from today, right? Yeah, it's Saturday.
Yep.
It's going to be early too, which is cool. A little bit announcer shuffle, and then we have some news that was going on, some news about Jerry Lawler and some other stuff. But yeah, might as well jump into it. WWE doesn't seem to be able to read their audience very well. I'm just saying that because last night they had this Worlds Collide. Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
AAA Worlds Collide, and they made a big announcement to an empty arena yesterday that WWE's WrestleMania 43 will take place in Riyadh. Um, and it was a very strategic done announcement because one, there was no people there. to
Mhm.
respond to it because
Because
during
you know how 99% of the media questions would have gone.
yeah, well, and
Rightfully so.
yeah, well, last night during the When Worlds Collide, they showed a promo for it, and I've seen some audience recordings of people booing continuously, yelling "You sold out." People doing that as well on the announcements online on any place they can comment. You sold out, you sold out. They must have understood that this was going to happen, but I guess when you have a one and a whole bunch of zeros after it to pay for the show to come to Riyadh, they can just ignore what the fans want and they can just put it in the bank. I blame lots of things, but it's not one. It's not really it's not understanding your audience is one, but then it's a TKO thing. They're gonna bankrupt this company. Something bad's gonna happen. They're gonna just push away the United States so bad because they've already got two major pay-per-views going on over in Riyadh. Next year's Royal Rumble, and then the following year's WrestleMania. Is it going to become a destination place like the excuse they use for Vegas this year? It's like, oh, it's a destination. It's like, I don't think going to the Middle East for Americans is a destination place for a major pay-per-view. This is just, I said 100%, the $100 million or whatever that they paid to bring it over there is
I bet
100%.
it's more than that.
Well, I heard it was a
Yeah.
100 million minimum.
Yeah.
And that doesn't include them negotiating now with Steve Austin and The Rock to come back and wrestle because that's another requirement they have on the WrestleMania card. And let's see, 2 more years before that happens, or a year and a half, whatever. I'm disgusted. I mean, it's just it's not reading your audience. And in fact, if anything, look at the comments. That's why they did it to an empty arena. They knew no one was going to cheer that announcement. It sickens me, and it just shows that since TK, and I don't even know if Vince would have done this, to be honest with you. He's better at reading the audience apparently than TKO. I heard a story, and this is very aside, that a fan had got Nick Khan aside and was complaining to him about the price of tickets, and Nick said, "Oh, these are cheaper than UFC. We're trying to bring them up higher, for regular tickets to shows when I don't want a seat where I can't see and I'm paying over $200 for, and that's all of WrestleMania last year, minimum. So I think they're just blind
Oh,
to their fans. They have no idea who their fans are. What do you think, Rob? Sorry, I just
it's it. The company's disgusting. The announcement is not a surprise. Um, I I've seen this is definitely the instance where I've seen more negative comments from people who are still full WWE fans who have no problem replying to everything with just like, "What are you doing? Is nothing sacred anymore?" Like this is a whole nother level to this partnership. This is just like I don't understand. I mean, I guess if you're the Saudis and you have unlimited money that you've obtained from different reasons, like why not spend it, I guess. But like this whole thing, like the way they try to word things and stuff with bringing WWE events over or the golf thing, uh like all sorts of stuff. It's like nobody's visiting your country. Like it's not if you had a WrestleMania, almost any other country in the world, like you would get some fans at least that would travel to it in addition to people who are already in that location. I can say personally, like I mean, I wish I was still in a mode where I cared about WWE because obviously I did for decades and I just don't anymore. But if I did, like I'm also somebody who has traveled to the most ridiculous places that nobody would ever think to vacation. A Winnipeg on spring break. The list goes on and on. If they went somewhere random and stuff like that, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, when else am I going to have a reason to go to this place or whatever? Riyadh is different. Nobody is like, hey hon, let's go on vacation next year. Like, you know what, our vacation, let's go to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Let's apply for our visas to go over there and sit in the crowd, and maybe the blood money will start raining on us during the show. It's to do this with your big show. It seemed inevitable, but I think all of us were hoping like, all right, maybe they won't actually go to that level. But like you brought up with TKO, all they care about is money. The quotes from the whoever the TKO CEO is as well with that and stuff, and justifying these like there's like Raw tickets that are like $275 and you can't see half the ring and stuff. Like it is so out of control right now that I hope that this all comes back to bite them in their collective ass. Like there's the greed is out of control. And there are parallels or reasons and stuff with other companies or a lot of the way this country and this world works right now, with stuff. But like, do you want to still have a fan base? Like, would you rather get $1 million from one fan or have a million fans giving you $1? Like, I just don't, it's not, this is not going to do anything to help anybody except for the pockets of the Saudis. Like, you're not, and the pocket, I'm sorry, the pockets of TKO. Like the fans aren't going to like this. The wrestlers don't want to do that. They all looked pissed off on the stage behind Triple H at the announcement. Like nobody's traveling there. I mean, honestly, like that was something I even put on Twitter. Like how many? I would love to know. We'll probably never know the actual answer, but like how many fans outside of the Middle East will legitimately travel to Riyadh for that WrestleMania, and then compare that to any other past PLE or whatever you want to call it. Like, no, will they hit double digits? I don't think they're going to hit triple digits in terms of people traveling internationally to go to this Mania, where WrestleMania constantly for 40 plus years has been like you got fans from we've got fans from all 50 states and all seven provinces, 13 and like you're not getting that. Nobody's going. And then I mean like I don't care about like the time difference. Like that's fine, whatever. Like the earlier shows, I think like people are kind of used to at this point. Some people really like them and stuff. So like that part's not a big deal to me. But what is it going to be like 2 mornings of Saudi Mania? That I just maybe it'll be three
Yeah.
because everything's got to be super over there too. So
Yeah, they get. I think they start at 1. So I mean, at least if I was Tony, I would do like a free show at like 9 o'clock that night or something, and just lump off of the fans dumping the. I mean, I'll give them credit. When they cut it to 2 last year, they kept the show shorter, so they were done before the end. Before like 11 or like 10:30 most of the time last year. But listen,
I hate the 2 day WrestleMania thing. I hate it, and I don't see myself changing on that. But at least I'm more okay with that than I am with them doing that for additional pay-per-views. Now it's really getting out of control with a terrible SummerSlam and stuff, and like I just yeah,
I
it's all
think
about the money.
And I
And
think, and the interesting thing is if you look at the demographics of the WWE fans, it's not like they have a lot of disposable cash. I think they're reading the room wrong. We know
well, yeah,
that.
because a lot of the country doesn't even a lot of the. I mean, yes, absolutely. The people are being the true fans are being priced out, and so back, you see like classic clips of WrestleMania with real true wrestling fans who saved their money and went to the show and brought a sign and yelled their hearts out and stuff, and now it's just like okay, well, like there's going to be a couple people that go to this one and they're all going to be multimillionaires and stuff and they're going to be there in their suits and they're not going to make it's going to be the lower level of a Leafs game. Like it's just I think it's a good point when you talk about like this is probably like this partnership with the Saudis in 2027 at that point will be a decade old. And obviously like Vince was a big part of that being started and stuff. I also don't think that scumbag Vince McMahon would have even done this. I really
I,
don't.
I don't either. I mean, like this year, like this, if you look at it, this year the destination of WrestleMania is a sand, a sandy city in the middle of the desert, but it's Vegas. Next year it'll be a sandy city in the middle of a desert in Middle East, where Americans aren't really it's kind of risky to go there. You never know. I'm not saying that people attack you because you're an American, but you never know with the way the political temperature is, so
I mean,
and
yeah, people will attack you for that anywhere in the world right now.
apparently, yeah. So I was gonna
And
say,
I can't. I'll
yeah,
mute myself. Yeah.
I see that. So, but yeah, it's when we had, I mean, this is a really just a poor timing too with this terrible stuff that happened this past week, So I just think, you're pissing off all your American fans automatically, and I'm sure every time they run one of those promos before Raw or SmackDown in the arena, you're going to have a spattering of boos for the people who can't afford to fly to the Middle East, spend a week there or whatever, because they're going to obviously be doing multiple shows there besides WrestleMania. They'll be there for SmackDown, I'm guessing, as well as Raw and whatever NXT. I just think it is very short-sighted announcement. It's bad enough that they announced this past year that they were going to be in New Orleans and immediately erase that like 3 weeks later or 4 weeks later and say, no, never mind, we're going to be in Vegas. I think it's just there's not a lot of smart things going. And I'm guessing there's probably a lot of people in WWE, even in management, and even in the management there, that really probably think this is short-sighted. But they got to go out and pretend it's the best thing that ever happened when they're cutting pro. They've got to, do a press conference. They got to go out there and pretend it's the best thing that ever happened because it's making them $100 million or TKO $100 million. It's just disgusting, and it's like. They did it on what was it on a Friday? Yesterday was the announcement, so they get a weekend for the people like us to die down on our opinions on that. But
You
I
bury
don't
you
think,
bury the lead on a Friday afternoon. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I I can't say all, but I want to say we've all been there. Um, I've done it. Yeah, it's not. Even if you take the money out of the equation, like what percentage of wrestling fans would accept a free trip to Riyadh to go to WrestleMania? Like honestly, like it's not 100%. It's certainly not. You offer me a free trip to WrestleMania in Riyadh, I'm saying no. Like I just don't. I don't understand. Like this thing just keeps being bigger and bigger, and like where do they go from here? Like you've been building this up. Like you got to the point where you're announcing that the Royal Rumble is there next year, which has always been my favorite pay-per-view. So that's out now. And now you're at the point where you're giving WrestleMania to there. Like there's nothing bigger to go with there. And what is it like
yeah.
now? Like the WWE title is going to be shaped like the outline of Saudi Arabia, and so, like it's there's so much greed. They don't care about the fans anymore. I'm surprised they didn't have CM Punk standing on the stage behind Triple H to make this announcement, so can be all excited about going and rolling around the Riyadh logo on the canvas again.
Yeah.
Hypocrite. But yeah, it's just just when you think they couldn't get any more despicable, here
Yeah.
comes TKO with something else.
Yeah, it's insane, and it's like it's kind of a bummer because there's all these fans who like listen to our podcast. There's fans out there who have their WWE blinders on, and these little things that they do that aren't for those fans who are WWE super fans. This is one of them. This is definitely not a positive thing for any of the fans in the United States. I mean, Las Vegas, it's a destination place. Yes, it is.
No,
Riyadh
and
is
honestly,
not.
that kind of disgusted me enough
Yeah.
at first anyway. I mean, just going back there for a second year in a row and taking it away and all that stuff, like with the amount that they're charging for the tickets and stuff, like that alone was enough to be upset about. But this is just
I kind of feel it was
wow.
coming when I started seeing those ads for Riyadh season. Every time you'd see the Monday Night Raw show, they have like an ad in there where they show fans, obviously there's like some nice cuts of fans at wrestling events in Riyadh, and they go Riyadh season, and then they have like their symbol. It only made sense it was going to happen soon enough, and it's like and it's really kind of a bummer because it's an interesting thing is TKO before they bought WWE, they did UFC, and when we had the COVID shutdown, the only place that they could do shows where it was in the Riyadh had Riyadh would let them do shows there. And so they went to Riyadh and did they had like a I can't remember what they called it, like Battle Island or something. And it's Russell Avery. Sorry, I'm looking at comments. Yeah, there's only
Wrestle what?
it says Russell Arabia.
Oh, I thought you said something different. Whoa, okay.
No, yeah, so so TKO is doing these UFC events there. Oh no, it was like Fight Island. That's what they called it, and it was they did because they couldn't do them anyplace else because COVID had shut the world down. So so they started this relationship in Saudi Arabia, years before they ever bought WWE, and so it just makes sense that they're going back there and doing this and because TKO is in charge. And like I said, I think it's very, you're not looking at the fans, and I think it's going to hurt them in the long run. I think it will. I think a lot of people are going to be upset because then the next time it's in the United States, it's like, is it that big a deal now? Because you had it freaking someplace else. I'm curious as to the number of fans. Like the same thing I said about SummerSlam when they went 2 nights is like, how many people show up? How many, because it's like, man, there's no SummerSlams, there's not a lot of 2-day events. Even WrestleMania, the only reason they're doing WrestleMania is because Wrestle Kingdom was doing multiple day events, and they kind of watched and saw what they were doing and said, hey, we could do that too. And I almost would accept it for WrestleMania. Nothing else. I don't want 2-day events for anything else.
Right.
And it's like, I mean, it just doesn't make sense. I'm scared the Royal Rumble will become a 2-day event. And they'll have like the women's Rumble one night and the men's Rumble the next, which, that means it's a whole weekend you're committing to something like that. They expect a lot, and it's just disappointing. And I really hope that they listen to the fans' response, because so far it's been, if you had like we should put up like a survey and see what people think, and I bet you it would be like 90 to 10, that they're happy.
I think it'd be worse than I honestly, I have not seen one positive comment, and that includes plenty of people who are objective, plenty of people who are pro WWE. Like, it's not just the haters. I mean, I literally, I haven't seen one person that's just like, this is awesome. Like, no, like nobody's happy about that. Yeah, hopefully as we get, especially, I mean, we're talking probably a little over a year and a half from now until that show happens. There's plenty of time to get WWE fans to just get used to just booing every single time that Mania logo is shown, or every single time Riyadh is said on a microphone or whatever. Like, I uh I hope they learn to regret this. This is just it's gross.
Let's see how many confiscated signs start happening starting this week. I'm sure there'll be, it's going to be that way until, and the thing is once you set that, you've kind of set that standard about we'll take the most money to go anywhere. They've always wanted to be global. They've always wanted to, we've had this global look. Well, if you want to get away from the United States, then you are going to lose your fan base big time. And it's like,
I'm all for an international WrestleMania. London should have had one. London, Canada. I'm not. It has Dynamite this week. London in the UK should have had a WrestleMania by now. I wouldn't mind if WrestleMania went to Sydney or Paris or London, or like plenty of places out there. Riyadh is not in that category. You don't go to Riyadh, you don't go to Moscow, you don't go to Shanghai right now. You don't go to anywhere in North Korea.
North Korea, yeah.
But there's not too many places to list that like you just shouldn't be possibilities, and this is one of them. Go anywhere else in the Middle East, not right now, but like it's just and maybe not anywhere, but like it's just like this should be clear as day. Like, hey guys, this is a bad decision. Are we serious about this? Like they've got all their board meetings and stuff, but like this is what you decided on. Okay. Like I hope it flops like crazy. And I don't know, maybe who knows what all the people in the offices in Bristol, Connecticut right now, ESPN are like, oh, so we're gonna be promoting this too. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. This is yeah. It's just it. You know, the thing is it's so far in advance that they think maybe the audience will cool out over it. I don't think.
No,
I think it'll
I
get
hope not.
worse. I think it'll
No,
get
and,
worse.
and honestly, like it's kind of I used to enjoy like you would get the back in the day you wouldn't know more than one WrestleMania in advance. And you wouldn't even know in advance. Like some point in with like 9 months to go or whatever, like you'd find out where WrestleMania is going to be next year. And it was exciting and it usually didn't leak. And it wasn't about like how much is this city going to pay WWE to put on the event there and stuff, like these rights fees and stuff that are also just changing everything as well. But now we're at a point where like okay, so we had all these switching of manias locations. We know Vegas is happening again in 2026. We know Riyadh is in 2027. We know they have said to New Orleans that they're still going to give them one. Indianapolis is getting one. Minneapolis is supposed to get one and stuff. Like there's no there it's like so far in advance now. Like if you think like Mania is coming to your city, like it's not going to have it's going to be honestly it's going to be exactly like uh, 8 years ago or whatever when an announcement went out that Temple football was going to have this series with the Oklahoma Sooners and the Sooners are coming to play at Temple and the game's finally happening in an hour and a half. But that was like a decade ago. I was like, I don't care about a game that's not going to happen until 2025. And okay, now we're there. But like there's no mystery left as to where Mania is going to be the next 5 years.
True.
And who
Well,
knows? Then maybe they go back to Riyadh again, and
was
then
it?
Vegas again.
Is it in Temple by any chance?
It is at the home of the Temple Owls, Lincoln Financial Field.
So Boomer
There's
Sooner.
also an NFL team that plays there, but
So JR is going to be there probably. Boomer Sooner. Yeah.
I assume he probably. I mean, if he's doing well, yeah, it's Temple's off to a pretty good start, but I don't have a good feeling about playing the Sooners. So,
Oh, they are a
uh,
high ranked team. So I guess we get a
yeah,
good. You know.
we'll see how this goes.
And so well, very interesting. Yeah. So it's. I mean, there's we're not going to be the only voice of dissension. So if you're out there listening to us and think we're the only one, we're very isolated on this. The only one
No,
who's
I mean honestly, like I don't have the chat pulled up or anything, but like maybe I should. I would love to. I honestly would love to see somebody who says like, oh, I like this. Like this is cool. This is different or whatever.
yeah.
This is not something that like I would love to see supported by anybody. Like if it was not a despicable country, then sure or whatever. But honestly, I truly have not seen anybody say like, "Oh, this is a good decision. I like this. I'm excited for this." So maybe there is somebody who feels that way. Like, let
Yeah,
us
there
know
is the prince or whatever, the guys who are
if
running.
there's anybody outside of Saudi Arabia that feels that way. Please let us
There,
know.
there you go. Seriously. So yeah, and that was a shocker of yesterday, and I'm just yeah curious how they're going to spin it for the next year and a half, without having people boo. I mean, heck, we still have to do this WrestleMania in Vegas this year. I mean, and you know, how soon they forget. You just imagine when people start pointing at you, like you said, when it comes down to we're going to go into that Mania, and people are pointing at the sign, after let's say the Royal Rumble that year. What kind of response are they going to get? Is it going to be like the Roman Reigns being pushed down our throat, booze, or is it, it's not a good idea. And I'm sorry that you guys do things for the money. I understand money's important, especially when you have $1 billion company or whatever, and you have to pay all these huge salaries now that work even less now that they don't have house shows to go to anymore, and they still get paid insane amounts of money. So but yeah, let's move on from that. But that's a pretty sick, disgusting thing that was announced this week, and it's like I can't be behind it without a doubt. And there's no way. I don't care if you gave me a free trip there. I still would. There's no way I would ever promote what they've been doing. So, um, yeah, yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's just one day into this too, so I'm just going to see where someone's going to. I mean, some major commentator out there is going to start something that I don't see us as major. We do a podcast and and stream and stuff, but I don't see. I want to hear someone someone to be disgusted by this besides us. Someone, and everybody should be. So
Well, how many of them are not WWE shills at this point?
yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, let's
Yeah.
talk about it. Let's talk about something better. We've got All Out coming a week from
But
today. All
speaking,
Out.
I really hope, I mean, this is the opportunity, like with what we're just about to talk about now, it's a year and a half away, but like, it might be your opportunity to return the favor and counter program something there, Mr. Khan,
Yeah,
Tony Khan.
I think so. I think he doesn't have like the flexibility I think that they have because them working with like say I mean, Netflix, they could do anything they want. They could put something on anytime they want. Same with any of the streaming. Like we don't have Peacock anymore, but the ESPN, that they probably say, yeah, you can do a show anytime you want. And so, but I don't think that Tony can go to, hey, Warner Brothers, can you give us like a night this week, a certain time, so that we can do a special show to counter program. I mean, they're all for him and everything, but I don't think they have that flexibility and like the power of a network TV to be able to do anything like that just yet. I know they get overruns, and those are always important too as well. When they run an overrun on a show, it means it actually helps out most of the time the show following. But yeah, Tony, if you could do anything, man, set something up, man. Set something up to counter program against these guys. But we've got All Out 1 week from today. It's going to be in Toronto. It's just a mere maybe 2.5 hours from Rochester, where we are from. How do you feel the setup?
Why does everybody always say 2.5 hours? I've been to Toronto hundreds of times, and is net like there's been like one time it took me that. This is a false narrative out there that everybody's like, oh, it's like 2 hours.
Yeah.
It takes so much. Like I bring back the fast ferry. Like traffic at the border and stuff. Like, yeah, I don't know if you're okay. Maybe I did. If I At the times I would ride in a car with Kevin O'Clubja to Toronto, maybe we made it there in like an hour and a half, but with him driving. But no, it's pretty close in Toronto, and it's an opportunity for
I mean, on the
real
road,
sports fans to
yeah.
sit in the lower level of the Leafs arena, like just mentioned.
Yeah, I was gonna say
For once.
Technically from here, I think it's 180 miles on the ground. That's why I say 3 hours, or 2.5, 3 hours. Once you get to Canada, throw out the
once you get to the Lakeshore Expressway and stuff. Yeah, no, honestly, like me personally, like if I'm driving up for like a Blue Jays game or whatever, or like a concert up there or something, like the other week when somebody was like, hey, like, can we go to Oasis today? And I'm like, it's already 2:30 in the afternoon. Like I budget it as 4 hours in my head and hope that I can make up some of that time by not running into terrible traffic as approaching downtown and all that kind of stuff. But I digress. And it is a little different now if you are a Rochesterian who is thinking about going all out. And before, you could have just like woken up next Saturday, you do your things, you hop in the car, casual drive, stop for lunch. Now it shows at 3 o'clock. So now like you kind of gotta hustle a little bit more if you are gonna make that trip, because now it's starting much earlier than anticipated.
The best thing about early starts is if you start early, you don't
leave early.
Yeah, or you leave early. That's right. And you don't catch as much traffic, I think, earlier in the day than you do, like, say, high traffic times, like, which are like morning drive and afternoon drive. So if you can fall anywhere in between that.
Nothing better than when you have to bus a team back after a road game. You have an afternoon game, so you get to leave early. Everybody should follow that baseball standard.
There you go. Yeah. I've gotten there in 2.5 hours with, and barely stopped. I've also taken 4 or more once you get that traffic outside Toronto. But it is 1 week from today. You definitely don't want to miss it. It's going to be a full day of show, obviously, of matches, and I mean, we have some really great matchups on what are going to be happening on the show. Now, Rob, do you plan on going?
So, no, I don't. And I wish that I did. But I feel like there's many instances with this show where I could just have a soundboard of me repeating the same things after certain topics are brought up, and I swear, like there's gonna be stuff I'm positive about on this show. Like the overall, people are pretty interested in this show, and I think it's gonna be a really good show, and I am looking forward to watching it. But that card doesn't make me interested enough to travel to it. I think I think there's a chance it could end up being the weakest AEW pay-per-view card going into the pay-per-view. I'm sure it'll deliver, they always do. But for me personally, this card is not it's not at the same level.
I mean,
Luckily most people don't feel that way.
you mentioned Rio earlier, and Rio's in a feature match with
Yeah.
Mercedes Monet.
Yeah.
That, I mean, we got Moxley and Darby Allin in a coffin match. You know, Tony Storm versus this is the one I wouldn't mind seeing: Hayter, Statlander, and Tekla in a four-way for the AEW Women's World Championship. Which you never know how four-way is going to go. And then Kyle Fletcher and Adam Page. I'm sure that will burn the house down. And there's actually a match tonight on Collision that will determine who Okada is taking on the for the AEW Unified Championship. But we'll get to that when we go through the list of what's going on tonight. But yeah, and then I don't care much for a table and thumbtacks match like Mark Briscoe and MJF.
Well, that's a spoiler.
Oops, sorry. Oops. I thought that was
That's
announced
kind of
already.
a lame choice, but nope,
It is.
that'll be
I,
tonight.
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't. I was just reading down the lineup of the matches. I wasn't sure. I thought that was made already, but okay, never mind.
No, Briscoe is picking that tonight on Collision.
Oops, sorry. I didn't mean to spoil anything for anybody. I'm still gonna watch Collision. I don't care. And you should too as well. But yeah, yeah, it's kind of, and I'm not going either. In fact, I actually booked myself to announce a roller derby in Buffalo that afternoon. So, which is it's kind of, it was a bad time. I didn't think about it when I said yes. So I'll be in Buffalo then, and yeah, I probably, I mean, it doesn't. It's gonna the games are gonna go until night, so I'm gonna probably miss the whole thing, including Palooza or whatever the hell they call it, Wrestle Palooza. I don't care. In fact, I haven't even really turned on my ESPN app yet, so I don't even know if I could watch it anyway. So, I mean, it's been fun build up. I've been enjoying. It was an uneven show this past week for Dynamite, I think, but I like. I did. One of my favorite things that happened on the whole show was Tony Storm merging multiple ECW characters into her, and going nuts on the I mean, with uh, staple gun with a
Yeah. It was fun. I props to Sky Blue as well. I mean, I think that was an entertaining match on a pretty good Dynamite that also did much better in the ratings than like the week before and stuff. I think that I just like my issue has been in the post all in world, which seems to be an annual trend a little bit, is I just feel like things are a little lost or not reset yet, or it's just like these shows in Philly that they had, it felt like it was the same small group of people on every single show, wrestling every single night. And it's obviously all of those people wrestling on All Out as well. And there's just not like, yeah, like there are matches I think are going to be really good. And luckily, like I am a wrestling fan or whatever that like appreciates like just watching good wrestling. I don't always need a full story, or I don't always need to feel like a match is unpredictable. I know I mentioned predictability a lot on this, but when you look at this card, like Kyle Fletcher's not becoming the AEW Men's World Champion. He's already the TNT champion. Hangman's not going to lose that yet. The four-way of the women's, like, sure, something could happen with that. There's no way Rio's beating Mercedes. Like, a lot of this is just there. I hope it's an opportunity for Kyle Fletcher to reach the next level. They have like the amount that he has grown already in just the past year alone is incredible. And like I think that's going to be an excellent match. I just don't like there's not much on this show where I'm just like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen, or like this is going to be something we've never seen before or whatever. Like I don't care. Like John Moxley and Darby Allin in a coffin match, I could not care less. Luckily, there's plenty of fans that do. But like I already like I mean, I didn't need Darby to come back. That's just me personally. Moxley, we've talked about a million times. Like I don't why is he wrestling every single show? Um Hopefully now, like at least like there's a little something different now with the intrigue of like Garcia becoming a Death Rider and stuff. But I don't know. This card is just not like the best way I can put it is like that card is very close in Toronto. And I'm just like, eh. But like a year ago, like I drove to Quebec City for a Dynamite where I was like, I kind of like I wanted an excuse to go back to Quebec City and stuff. And then I was like, the card came out with a couple matches, and I was like, whoa, like I love this. Like, all right, I'm going. Screw it. But like a show right here, like right there in Toronto, I'm just like, and it's a pay-per-view, and I'm just like, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna enjoy watching it, but it's not a good enough card for me to travel to, unfortunately.
You said Dynamite's going to be there as well on Wednesday. Out
It's in London on Wednesday
okay,
at
so
yeah, whatever the John Labatt Center is
casino.
called now. Budweiser Gardens, I think it's called now. Really nice junior hockey arena there in London. Um, so that honestly is more intriguing to me than going to the pay-per-view. That is something I have thought about, though they haven't announced much for that show yet. Um, and then they've got some other like somewhat close locations coming up. Pittsburgh and such, but like yeah, it's I don't know. Hopefully it's another one of those pay-per-views as of late where it's just like I'm not crazy about it going in, and then I watch it, I'm like, oh, that was awesome. And like I said, like I'm not super excited about the four-way women's match yet, but like I really like all four people in that match. I'm sure it's gonna be awesome. So I am looking forward to it, but yeah, I don't know. And what's going on last on the pay-per-view? Like I'm still intrigued about that because I
They've been building this women's match up a bit, so it's like they've been giving, I wouldn't be surprised, especially after the way Statlander came running out last week, as
I
well as
I would I would be happy with that. I really would because Tony at this point Tony Storm should have more main events. She should have a at least a small list of pay-per-view main events on her resume. She's been that big of a star. She's been that good for so long with the belt and everything. This to me is it's just it, I think it's more justifiable to put the women's title on last when it's a singles feud that's really built up and it's not just kind of like, oh, we're going to throw these four people into a match. That's just my perspective on it. But I also like Hangman and Fletcher is not that's not to me like something where it's like this is the main event. Like it doesn't scream that.
and they just
And
wrestle recently too. I think I remember seeing them, and it was really a good match. But I think they wrestled recently. Trying to remember.
not that I remember, but I don't know. But and obviously there's the like it'll be cool to see the Toronto reaction for the CNC Music Factory, but like I wish I cared more about that match than I do.
Yeah.
Um, they're trying, but like I don't
Well,
know.
do you remember the
I'm sure
days
it'll be
when
fun, but
remember the days when All Out was a week after All In?
yeah.
So they
No,
got
and honestly, and I liked it better then, because at that point they did a much better job of being like, all of these people are on All In. And now this group of people is going to be on All Out. And there were a few similarities, but there were more opportunities for more of the roster as opposed to the same. Like, I feel like I could name 10 people, and like that's all you would think about for all of these AEW shows every single week. Like, it's every single night is the same group of people on their huge roster. Where is the rest of the roster? Like, I like MJF. I like Mark Briscoe. Why are they on every single night? Why is John Moxley wrestling every night? Why, like a lot of this stuff is just overkill.
yeah, yeah.
When Orange gets healthy, It'll be back to that again, and whether he's wrestling on every single show. Obviously, I really like Orange, but like
Yeah,
I not every single night.
that's true. Well, and things may change up this week before the actual full official card, even though we just kind of went through a little bit of it. But
Hopefully Rio's found some ring time somewhere because just
yeah.
Mercedes has had like there's still so many people that are hating on Mercedes like crazy. I think that her list of matches this year compares to anyone else's in professional wrestling this year, in terms of having the best year. She is a contender for that list. And to me, on paper, this is the weakest of any of her matches. Riho can, if she can shake off the ring rust, she can put on a great match. But of all the matches I've seen of Mercedes this year, and that would be all of the AEW ones and a lot of the other ones, this is the one I am the least interested in.
I'll give credit. Rio is closer to the size of Mercedes than most other opponents because Mercedes is not a big wrestler, very petite woman as well as Rio. So maybe who knows? Maybe there'll be a surprise there because there's a lot of the other girls are kind of bit bigger, and maybe
And
Don.
Mercedes has proven time and time again, like she's working really well with like the Josie wrestlers and stuff. Like she can work with anybody really. I mean, they did great stuff with Bozilla and stuff too. I mean, there's a lot of different. She's very versatile in that aspect, but I just don't. I really don't like the aspect of like Riho's gone for. It didn't even feel like a year. It felt like 5 years that she's been gone, and all of a sudden, like she gets a title match on the pay per view. Like, whoa! Like, do we remember when there used to be like rankings and stuff in this company? You had
Oh
to
yeah,
earn things.
yeah.
Like, just show up, and all of a sudden, like, what? Where? How did this happen? Like, I just some of that stuff just doesn't make any sense to me.
It's like Soraya. No, show up and win a title. All right. I do want to ask one thing before I hit the news about what did you think about the Brian Danielson or Daniel Bryan being or whatever is
No,
doing.
Brian Danielson.
Brian Danielson. What did you think about him being added and now Tony's like a backstage announcer and kind of aspect?
So when did Danielson first do that commentary? Was that the last pay per view?
He
Whenever it was
filled
that
in. I know that. Yeah. Oh,
whenever he
sorry.
did it that one time, I was just like, wow, he's doing really well. And like, we know that he's an intelligent person that can talk and stuff. And he's done like talking smack stuff before and everything. Um, but he did really well in that like one off. And then they announced it, and I was just like, I think like the fans want to see him. They want him around one way or another. He does a very good job. He's excellent at breaking stuff down. I I don't know if you need him on this. Like, I think there's absolutely like I think it's great to use him on commentary. I don't love that necessarily that it's the Dynamite booth, because like you mentioned Shivani, like I, I Shivani on Collision is not something I like as much as Shivani on Dynamite because I really like Shivani in a not lead role. I think he like the chemistry that Excalibur has with Taz and Shivani with Excalibur leading, I think is very, very good. And they're very comfortable with each other and they take little jabs at each other and stuff. And I find them very entertaining as a trio. Shivani, I think Nigel McGuinness does an incredible job on Collision, but Shivani is like the lead guy calling moves and stuff. I don't like as much. And this is me like as a commentator and somebody who pays a lot more attention to commentary than anybody else than the average wrestling fan does. Like um I care more about this stuff. I pay more attention to it. Like I'm somebody that likes to hear what the commentators are saying and everything. And I I wish there was some kind of different change to the combinations, I guess. And if that, I don't know. I mean, maybe it would end up being too much if you put Nigel and Brian, these two big rivals, at a desk together. But maybe there's another way to switch it up. I don't know. But regardless, he did a really good job on Wednesday as well. So I just hope that we still get Shivani in a non-lead role at times, and he's not just an interviewer guy or somebody who announces somebody to the ring and then hands over the microphone or has it snatched from his hands.
which
Um,
happens 90% of the time when he's in the ring.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's I will say that I was waiting to see who was the odd man out when they announced when Brian came out to announce on last Wednesday. Like, okay, who are they going to subtract from the
Oh,
booth?
I knew it would be Shivani. Yeah, and that's Taz. Taz does a great job. I mean, he really does.
I think what it
Like,
is Tony likes, he wants Brian involved in the company. Brian's doing some backstage booking with the company. He's like he like helps produce stuff as well. I mean, obviously Brian wants to wrestle still, and he says he still will when he can, but I think Tony loves him, and it's like he wants to keep him active and part. I mean, he's been backstage. I think Brian maybe had said I want, and apparently Jim Ross said that Brian is like he does the most research before going out and doing shows. He's meticulous to look at all the matchups and do some prep and everything, and so that's a big plus for him. I mean I love Tony and Nigel on Collision, but it's you definitely can't put Brian with Nigel, especially after kind of what they were doing about a year ago, so it's like uh
yeah, I mean, I think that like maybe I don't know. I think I would be most happy with it if you did not lock into this is the exact combination for each show every week. And just kind of, I mean, this guy does the first hour, this guy does the second hour, this guy's gonna be on next week or whatever. Like I'm fine with that. I think mixing it up here and there is good. I think Don Callis adds a lot when he does commentary for his family's matches. Like I think I do like that. And again, I've always been somebody who didn't really love like packed booths with a lot of people, but they have a lot of people who are good at commentary. So
by
if
the
they
way,
switch it up and stuff,
I thought it was interesting when Don was doing commentary with Brian Danielson on Dynamite, because Don's always very caustic with everybody else, but he wasn't with Brian. Anything Brian said, even if it was bad against his guys, he was agreeing with and stuff.
well,
I thought
that's I do appreciate that. Like Don does that sometimes. Like he is obviously one of the most hated heels in that company, but he's one that isn't afraid to acknowledge when a babyface does something really good and stuff. Like once in a while, it makes it important. I think he's really good at that because I think there's been plenty of examples over the years of heel commentators that just go overboard and they're just trying to get themselves over and they won't give credit to a babyface doing something really good and stuff. So I like what he adds with that. I really do.
yeah, I
I
thought
guess I guess maybe it's for me. It's like the Brian and Taz on the same commentaries. Like Taz is really good at breaking stuff down. Brian's really good at breaking stuff down. You don't really need both.
yeah, and
Like
Brian was
I'd
doing
rather split that up.
Brian definitely did a good job at the play-by-play, breaking things down. So I definitely thought that was a good aspect. So one other thing I want to mention too is WWE's been shaking up their announce team. It may just be the time of year and people are taking vacations or something, but this past week we got Joe Tessitore. Apparently Joe Tessitore is now on Raw, and it was him and Corey Graves. So they did Raw this past week. And then Vic and Booker did SmackDown, which they also did, obviously, NXT, but they did SmackDown last night. I definitely felt it was a fill-in type of thing, like someone was on vacation or something. But I liked Vic.
Well, I know I saw a tweet from Wade Barrett that said he had a vacation booked for like 9 months or whatever.
Yeah. People were
Um,
saying he's done, and then in reality, he's just going to be out for a couple weeks on vacation. But having Vic and Booker on the show, they have like a kind of a great chemistry together. I think they do a good job with NXT, and I think they do a good job. But you got to think of the guys who are producing them are probably going, "What the hell is he talking about?" Because Booker just goes off on his freaking tangents, and he was doing that all last night. But it's the
anytime I hear Booker T as a commentator, I think he's worse than the last time I heard him. I used to enjoy him a lot more than I do now. I can't stand him on commentary now, to be honest.
yeah,
And like, uh, yeah, I don't understand all of the commentary decisions that they've made within that company, to be honest. Um, I don't know. Maybe it's because they constantly shake things up and then people get split apart or they don't have enough time to build chemistry or whatever the excuse would be. But I just don't. I don't know. And then I saw that clip of whatever Booker said on NXT that was must have been a
Oh,
slip of the tongue or something. But like,
yeah, yeah. He said,
whoa, buddy.
yeah, he did say something.
Anybody else says something like that, they're gonna get in trouble. But
Yeah, I think it just slipped
he'll
out.
get away with it because he's a 5-time WCW champion.
Something like that. Yeah. He's also been a WWE champion too, I believe. So
True.
he was King Booker at one time as well. As long as he's not doing that accent, I'm good. So but yeah, it's interesting because I think they made such a big deal of having Michael Cole and Pat McAfee starting off this whole Netflix era. And now it's Joe Tessitore and Graves, and McAfee's disappeared. Joe Tessitore has got commitments to college football, and I think that's why he's available for Monday night. So it's really they're fluctuating all
No,
over.
I mean that's definitely why like McAfee was on Raw when he was instead of SmackDown too, because he's got College Game Day and stuff too. So, um, yeah, I mean it's Tessitore. I'm still very limited in how much I've heard Tessitore do wrestling at this point, but when I've heard him, I think he does a decent job. I
Those,
don't really have complaints there. Vic, he's good at what he does, but I like, and he's got the knowledge and stuff. But I don't know. A lot of the NXT combos I just have not liked in recent years.
yeah, and I like Vic. He does get the high pitch though, much like Michael Cole does when he's like getting excited during a match, and so his voice goes up an octave. But I do like him. He also is offered to come on the show anytime we need him. I've never
I mean,
taken
I
him
will
up on
say I heard about a minute of the Worlds Collide commentary, and
JBL.
anybody's better than K Dog. So I'll just leave it at that.
Well, yeah, K Dog. I think he's more of a booker than a announcer, isn't he? I mean,
He's
that's
something. Yeah,
okay. So let me jump to the news so we can get out of
more of
here.
a buddy with Disco Inferno than yeah,
Oh yeah, we don't disco who? Okay, we don't need to talk about that crap.
exactly.
Okay, so let me go through some news and we'll get out of here before but it's been fun talking this week. I'm so sorry I missed last week. I did want to do yeah, I would have done it at the beginning of the show last week if we had been on, but I do want to shout out to a friend of mine, Brother Weeze, who was forcibly forced to retire from iHeart. I worked with him. You may have known I've done this show forever. You know that I was working with him for a bunch of years in there, kind of filling in as a producer. And I have a lot of respect for the guy, and I think he kind of got offered secondary stuff that he became him being a National Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame felt that it was beneath him, and he just rather retire because he's in his 70s. He deserves to retire. But a shout out to him
He
because
deserved to have a run retiring. To me, like for me to hop on social media that Friday afternoon or whatever and be like, reading like, oh, we's just had his last show. What? Like, it, I would have tuned in. A lot of people would have tuned in. It would have been cool to do like a bunch of, I don't know, like a farewell tour kind of
yeah, he could have
thing.
done 3 months of having people come on and talk about their times with him and stuff. But they
And
didn't.
then the way it all goes down, like you can't even. I doubt you can even go back and listen to that last show.
That's the way I heard
Like,
it was on their app. They actually had it up on the app. I'm sure it's probably down by now, but it was up because
mhm.
I knew he was making an announcement. It just didn't. I didn't think that was it. Because they had fired the lady who had worked with him, Deanna King, earlier in the week, and she was actually in an afternoon slot at that time. So it's
Well,
terrible.
I will say in all of it, like that whole situation to me is just it's crazy. It's disappointing. I'm sure, that wasn't like his last time talking into a microphone, but in terms of a radio career and stuff, I mean, that's probably for that to be how it ends is just absolutely crazy to me. The only I don't even want to say positive because that's a negative situation. It's awful and stuff, but the only little bit out of that I like, I'm not justifying anything or whatever, is John DeTulio's back on the sports station for 2 hours a day or whatever. But like that's something that I feel like has been. I never agreed with that decision. So when he was moved off of
Oh yeah.
when the sports guy was moved off the sports station, but
No, you know what? The one situation I liked from it, and this is a terrible thing, and it probably will never get me a job at iHeart again. But iHeart is known for if you're leaving, they don't give you that last chance. They don't
Right.
give you the chance. So we's kind of
And that is a lot of corporate America. In fairness, it's not just them, but yes.
well, we said he was considering it, and then when he did his last show, he said, "I can't do that. I'm sorry," and so he actually got to have a last show instead of being taken off the air. And I give him a lot of because he changed his mind when he was talking about it. He's like, I thought about it, and first this morning I was ready to do it last night, and I came in this morning, and it's like I can't do that. And and what my vision is, what it's going to do is CMF, this original station he made his name on here in Rochester, is going to sign him, and he's going to do maybe a couple hours a day or something on there in the afternoon. Just and if he wants to do radio still, if he
They,
doesn't,
yeah, I mean, I don't know what kind of like I don't know what his contract situation was, and obviously
I know he
when
can't
it
talk
happened the
until
other way around, it was a
yeah,
long no compete.
I know he can't
Um,
talk until January. That's what he said.
okay,
Yeah, so
but I mean, if they're not even Entercom anymore, whatever they are, that group,
Odyssey,
Cumulus, is it still
Odyssey.
Odyssey? I that like if I'm them, I'm absolutely like, do you want to even just do like a 1 month like special run
Yeah.
to like close out the radio career? Like there should be something, yeah. And if it goes back to where it was for so many of those years, yeah. I mean that's
I'm hoping
feel
that,
kind of weird saying these things as people who for a while got paychecks from that one company or whatever. Like I get what you're saying about like not like I'm not trying to piss anyone off either or something, but like that he deserves something. This is
I
I
agree.
for me to just read that at like 1:30 in the afternoon and be like, what I missed, like I would have absolutely tuned in live to
Well,
that. Like
it's interesting is the guy who runs iHeart signed a new 5-year deal a couple days before that
hmm,
for a lot of money, and it's like, and what they're doing is destroying radio in America. So if you I'm sorry if you work for iHeart or if you are your morning show, but you all got to know that freaking the next day they change their mind, you're gone, and they don't think twice about it. They're, and it's a terrible business to be in, and it's a terrible company. And they deregulated radio when that started happening, and companies like iHeart started buying all the radio stations up. I knew it was destined to implode, and exactly it was what's going on. Even Odyssey is going through bankruptcy right now, so they're having issues as well. Most of these major companies are just, and then so they're
it's a different world now. I mean
turning
that's
everything into a jukebox. Like that's what
yeah.
95.1 now is, a jukebox,
Yeah.
with and it's a terrible business. Stay away from it. I'm never going to tell a kid. I run a radio station in a high school. I teach these kids how to run the board and everything. And it's like, and we have a club and everything. And I cannot in good spirits tell them that you're going to go have a career in radio when you leave here. I'm not even going to push it because there's no money in it, and it's like until it gets deregulated and they make them sell off every station, and maybe some go dark. A lot of AM radio stations have been going dark in the last couple of years. A lot of FMs, they would go dark because you can't run them unless you have individual people, selling them. And yeah, one thing a friend of mine told me, and I agree this 100%, is that when we worked at iHeart, a friend of mine who even said it on his podcast, is their short-sightedness about developing new talent they never did anything to develop new talent. And so as the people who were on the air got older and older, there was nobody to replace them. And I was one of those people who worked there when I had wanted a chance to, maybe replace those people. And it's like I stuck around as long as I could, and it just never happened. So um, uh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna bite my tongue on some of that because oh, not taking care of younger talent who need to no, yeah, I'm not gonna get into
The
all of
business
that,
will
but
implode. It's
there are a
very
lot of
parallel to,
examples
yeah,
of
very
people
parallel to
that
wrestling world. It really is. It's the old guys who want all the money and are blocking all the youngs from coming in. That there's a lot of comparisons, but that I was
there's
talking
a
with
lot of
some.
comparisons of that with a lot of industries out there. Yeah, it's there were a lot of there were a lot of very, very talented people in those hallways, in those studios, and a lot in those I'm sorry, like after the move to this is way off topic, but maybe it's not. I don't know. But like the whole after that move from Midtown or whatever, like those few years after, like the amount of talent, like there were radio veterans and everybody like big names and all this stuff, um, to draw people in and stuff. And then there really were like so many talented youngsters that could have been the next generation of these big radio stars and stuff. And obviously, like the business has been dying for a long time. But got to take care of your people.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
it's sad because it's like I really do have a lot of love for when I was working in radio. I really enjoyed producing. I liked doing things. I liked working. I could do it. I knew how to, I could run shows. I definitely knew all that stuff. And it's like, and and the lack of support from the corporation in general on anybody who's a young guy coming in. I started there when I was like in my 20s, okay? So it was and the guy who actually brought me in was very encouraging on stuff like that back then, but it changed when it became a corporate thing. It definitely, they look at the bottom line, like, like TKO now with what they're doing with WWE, bottom line, and it's like it's gonna, and
and
right
it
now,
only gets worse and worse by
yeah,
the look at TKO. Yeah.
I remember when there was like 70 or 80 people working in those hallways up there, even when we moved to Midtown, and then it's down to like, a handful of people now. Maybe you can count on two hands how many people work there during the day now. So it's sad,
Yeah.
and the thing is, in the olden days, you had, for a good show, you had talent, you had a producer, maybe a phone screen or two. Now, you don't get any of those. You're just a talent now, and you have to be able to do all your own stuff.
You're a talent on multiple stations and multiple markets. People can hear you at noon and they're still hearing you at midnight. And yet you're not actually there those full 12 hours. Yeah, it's a different business. And honestly, like I mean, in some ways I'm glad that it has survived as much as it has until this point because I didn't really know where that business was going. But man, I think had some of us known in high school and college and stuff like where that industry was going to go and where the payments and the loyalty and all the yeah
I feel bad too because
it's sad to see it go. And there's
there's a
like
lot of people
there
who
are
work
people that
there.
were there that yeah again that like there are people that like Brother Weeze was on the radio since long before I was even born, and like he deserves a send off more than anybody else in radio in this town ever.
Yeah,
And like for him to just be like, it's just like, oh yeah, maybe yeah, it was actually his last show today. Like what?
yeah,
Like there has to be more respect out there, but that's the way. I mean, that was literally 11 years ago that we were doing the corporate America gimmick in Pier 6. And that was my way of hating on the corporate America world was by doing it as a heel. Um, it's only getting worse. And thanks to TKO and all of these the Nick Cons of the world and stuff that are just pushing us more and more in that direction because clearly everything in this country is just going so swimmingly well these days.
seriously. I'm gonna, we're gonna do something for Wheeze. A bunch of us got together, or at least mentioned it. We should do something. So hopefully, when January comes around, he'll have an idea where he's gonna pop up, and if he does pop up someplace else, good. I power to him, but because I think if anything, like a friend of mine who I was talking with told me they just didn't realize the money they could have made in a goodbye tour of a 3 month goodbye tour. What they could,
Absolutely.
yeah, they just,
Absolutely.
they're short
Including some
sighted.
appearances and stuff. Like, are you kidding me? Like that would get the that would have boosted the ratings so much for that short period of time.
Yeah.
So like it's just it's another mind-boggling instance that I just there should be more respect for people that put in so much work, so much time, so many years, all that kind of
He
stuff.
had he
But
had advertisers that followed him everywhere, and as soon as he's gone, the advertisers will no longer be there. So he had people that,
mhm.
I mean, they were paying his basically his salary to be on the radio, following him, to where, and I mean, he was 9 to 12, because they changed like a couple of years ago on him because they wanted to put Rover in the morning. But nevertheless, I don't want to get too deep into it, but I do have a lot of respect for the man, and I'm disappointed. And hopefully we'll hear. We haven't heard the last from him yet. So, and but it was a sad day when I heard about that. Then I had to go back and find it and listen to it because I bumped into some guys who were friends with him the day before, and we were talking at Wegmans about, outside of Wegmans about what the big announcement was, and I was hoping it wasn't what it was, and it was. So, but I love him because he wouldn't have, if I had said I was going to put my notice in, they would have showed me the door immediately. They wouldn't have let me go on the air and talk. And he, on the other hand, kind of played it against them because they know that if he refused those, he would have been taken off the air, and we never would have got a goodbye show because that's how they work corporately. So, okay, let me get into some news, wrestling news. We'll get out of here. AEW Collision tonight. If you're watching, you get FTR, Dax and Cash versus Adam Priest and Tom Billington. Mark Briscoe.
Why are we running that match again?
I don't know.
I like Adam Priest and stuff, but like, why are we like? There's other things you could do. Yep.
I'm sorry, and I apologize. I didn't read this earlier. Mark Briscoe reveals the stipulation for his match versus MJF. MJF appears. Okada versus Michael Oko. Is it Oko? And the AEW Oku United AEW United Championship Tournament match. Takeshita versus Anthony Bowens, as well as in the United Championship Tournament match. Jamie Hayter, Ty Mello, Anna Jay, and Chris Statlander, and Harley Cameron. Oh boy, 10 people versus Megan Bain, Penelope Ford, Tekla.
For $14 bajillion, probably.
Yeah. Julia Hart and Sky Blue in a 10-woman match for $500,000. The winner of the Okada and Oku match and Takeshita and Bowens will be on Dynamite, and the winner featuring the Beast Mordos versus Mascara Dorada. They'll all will meet in a 3-way for the AEW Unified Championship at All Out. So that and if you want to know the results, it's been already taped. I'm not going to tell you to go look at it.
If we're gonna do 8 and 10 person tags for Monopoly money every single night, how is that not alone getting more of the roster worked into appearing on television? That's what I don't understand. Like, it's still the same people every night, but you're doing these matches with like 10 people in them. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But it's the same combination of people basically every time.
So I'll just briefly go through this because we already talked about it a bit earlier, but the 2026 Royal Rumble is the official date now is January 31st. It is the Sunday between the championship games in the NFL and the Super Bowl. So it's back to being the week between, which has always been pretty good, though nobody's going to watch it because it's going to be in Riyadh. So and it'll be in the middle of the day, I believe. So I'm sure it'll be much earlier.
Oh, Super Bowl is February 8th this year. Okay.
Yeah. It's so we already talked about WrestleMania 43. Pro wrestler legend Jerry Lawler suffered another stroke. His daughter told TMZ that her father's latest medical issue took place in Florida, at one of his homes. She added that she is taking him back to his primary residency, and where he will need a few more weeks to recover. It wasn't as bad as the one he had in 2023, and
that was the second one, I think.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's the one. That's the one where he's not be able to speak as well, and I think that's why we haven't seen a mic in front of his mouth when he was at WWE the last couple of years. So, but he's recovery time prognosis. This one doesn't seem to be as serious, she said, and we're all wishing the king the best. This is an interesting one. AEW television partner has a major suitor. The Wall Street Journal and Deadline.com report that Paramount Skydance is prepared to make a cash bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. The story states that the bid would
be a big deal. Yeah.
The story said that the bid would be for the cable networks and the movie studios. Warner Brothers Discovery is the home of AEW content via TBS, TNT, and HBO Max. There's no telling how a sale would affect AEW, though it's worth noting that Paramount recently struck a deal with TKO to bring UFC to Paramount. So, we're just keeping an eye.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of the lawsuits and the Colbert firing and the Trump. There's that could end up being a lot bigger. It could end up not really changing anything, or it could be a really big deal in terms of AEW and stuff going forward and everything in general. in TV.
Yeah,
That
well,
kind of monopoly wasn't really allowed before, but
nope. So we'll see what happens. I'm guessing, I'm hoping in the back of my head that it doesn't happen, because I don't want to see AEW lose its TV. And I'm not saying it's going to, but you never know. Once a network changes hands, all sorts of things change hands. And change.
yes.
So there's news. AJ Styles. There's news about his contract coming. His contract ends February 2026. So he may be working down the end of his contract and ready for retirement. He kind of cut a promo when the cameras were off on Monday night before his match, where he was saying that he's being held back, and I think it was kayfabe stuff. So he was just, but he was like trying to, trying
Oh,
to,
what, Hunter doing another work shoot? No
yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah. So that's what he's
How
saying.
original.
There's people in the back that are holding him down and got rid of his friends. He mentioned his friends by name, Anderson and
Gallows.
Gallo and Anderson, both of those guys. He mentioned them by name and said that they're trying to keep him off TV and stuff. So it was a work shoot that was going on during a commercial break. But in reality, his contract does run out February 2026. So we'll keep our eyes on AJ. We'll see what ends up happening. I'm a big fan, but he does want to retire. Maybe if he wants to retire, let him. If not, then sign him to a contract. We'll know that, I guess, pretty much. John Cena's last match was supposed to be was supposed to happen in Boston. It is now not happening then. It's happening December 13th at the Capital One Theater in Washington, D.C., with the Saturday night's main event. That'll be his very last appearance. It's going to be on Saturday night main event in December. And the last time he's in Boston is going to be November 10th for a Raw. So, and Madison Square Gardens, his last one will be November 17th. So there's a lot of people that want to see him on his way out. I'll give him a lot of credit. He's done a lot of good stuff in his last year. It's a shame he's leaving now, but it's a good thing he's getting out before WrestleMania's in freaking Riyadh. So uh, that's the only good thing I can say about it.
Until Riyadh offers him $8 bajillion to come out of retirement and wrestle like they want to do with everybody else. So.
I know I'm enjoying his Peacemaker show. If you ever watch it, it's really violent and lots of bad language, but it's a really good show. So I've been watching the second season. It's pretty good. One last thing before we get out of here. MJF's a married man now. He got married about more than a week ago to Alicia Tout. I think is that her name? Tout. Well, now it's
Alicia Toot.
That's it. She's a backstage backstage interviewer with AEW, and they got married. And I saw all the pictures, and they weren't supposed to be shown because people were upset about pictures getting out. People were putting them on their family Facebook, and people were stealing the shots and posting them on wrestling. Who cares? People will find out one way or the other.
People are making such a big deal out of that, and honestly, I saw a lot of like WWE fans who are just like, "Oh my God, there's a picture of Hangman Adam Page at MJF's wedding." Yeah, did you make that comment right after you watched WWE Unreal on Netflix? Like,
Yeah,
it's 2025. Like, let's.
yeah. I've been hearing that stuff like Punk and freaking Rollins are like best of friends since he's come back. So
I don't buy that.
Yeah.
They're obviously working together and stuff, but I don't think they're going out for garbage plates together or anything. So
Yeah, well, now their wives are involved, so it's a who knows,
well, and AJ Lee is definitely not eating a garbage plate. So yeah.
Obviously not with those abs she has. So on that note, we're done. I want to thank everybody for chatting and staying with us. People did stay a long time with us. We got a lot of stuff out there. I'm sorry I missed last week. I'm trying not to let it happen again. So I can't help it when I wake up with a tooth infection. So, but Rob, I want to thank you for the time. I want to thank you guys. And, hopefully it's a better week, man. I don't think this country can get much worse after this past week, but it can probably just by me saying.
If I've learned anything in recent years in this country, never say never, because it can always actually get worse. Yeah. JR, you're going down at noon. Okay, Boomer.
There you go. There you go. You've got 30 minutes to pregame before your football game.
Yikes.
So. Okay, we're gonna let you guys go. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, everybody out there. We're gonna get out of here. Have a great week, everybody. Let's hope it's a better week, and we'll see you next weekend. Same bat time, same bat.